What if I told you that everything you've ever desired, hoped for, and cried over is already yours? But you gave up just 1 second before it was about to arrive. You are one step away from success. You are closer than you think. The breakthrough you seek is not on the outside. It's within the next assumption you dare to hold. Winning through imagination is not a theory, it's a law. There's a moment almost always invisible to the outer eye where a man stands on the threshold of everything he has asked for and he does not know it. But the law of assumption explained is simple. If you can feel it and believe it as done, it must come to pass. You're not waiting on time. Time is waiting on you to assume, to believe, to feel it real. So today you must recognize that you're not miles from your dream. You're just one assumption away from stepping into it. The key to manifestation is not doing, it's becoming. Becoming the one who has already received. One mental shift, one unseen click within your consciousness, and the entire world bends to your new identity. You are one decision of belief away from your next victory. Not after 10 years, not when conditions align, but now. Right now. The one step you've yet to take is not an action. It's an inner leap into the version of you that already won. Imagination is the only doorway through which your future arrives. When you assume the wish fulfilled, you make it a present reality in your inner world. You must not hope for it. You must not beg for it. You must feel as if it is done. The feeling of being already victorious must saturate your senses. That assumption becomes the cause. And like a seed planted in rich soil, it must grow. All things exist. What you seek already is. The power of imagination is your spiritual workshop. In its sacred space, you move unseen parts of your world into position. Imagination is not fantasy, it is creation. The moment you picture your victory clearly and dwell in that picture with feeling, you activate the unseen forces that orchestrate its manifestation. Visualization is not idle daydreaming. It is the disciplined art of constructing a new world. You must imagine yourself being the person who already possesses what you want. Don't imagine the process. Imagine the result. Do it repeatedly, with intensity, until it feels natural. Then stop looking around. The world will catch up to the picture you painted in your mind. There is no external power shaping your fate. Belief is the hidden sculptor of every experience you've had. When belief changes, reality follows. A man who believes he is unlucky will prove it to himself daily. A man who believes he is already successful, even in the face of contradiction, will draw forth evidence of that belief until the entire world agrees. You don't need more effort, you need more alignment. Manifestation is not about labor, it's about harmony between your inner conviction and your outer identity. To manifest your dreams, ask, if it were already mine, how would I feel? How would I walk? How would I speak? Then do that. Speak that way. Think that way. Live from the dream, not toward it. This world is not random. It is patterned. Conscious manifestation means you understand that your thoughts are seeds, your feelings are fertilizer, and your assumptions are the sunlight. Nothing happens by accident. The reality you experience is the echo of what you have dared to accept as true. Consciously accept better things, and they must come. Success is not earned, it is allowed. A spiritual success mindset recognizes that the kingdom is within. You are not moving toward victory, you are awakening to it. Your job is not to force success, it is to remove doubt. Strip away every belief that says you are not worthy, not ready, not enough. What remains is your divine inheritance. The outer world is nothing more than your inner world, turned outward and magnified. Every argument, delay, or struggle is a reflection of a conflict within. Change your inner dialogue. Speak only of things that affirm your victory. Think only of outcomes you desire, and the mirror that is the world will be forced to reflect your new image. Assuming the wish fulfilled is not merely a technique, it is the cornerstone of all true creation. It is the bridge between the seen and the unseen, the conscious and the subconscious, the desire and the experience. When you assume something to be true, not as a hope, not as a distant possibility, but as an actual present reality in your inner world, you cause that inner state to reflect outwardly in form. The inner movement generates the outer result. To assume the wish fulfilled is to dwell in the end, to feel the emotional certainty of that which your senses cannot yet detect. It is not about pretending. It is about entering a deeper level of awareness, where what you accept as true becomes the only truth you honor, regardless of appearances. This process requires an inner shift, not of effort, but of identity. The one who desires is different from the one who already possesses. You must abandon the state of longing and replace it with the state of having. That change happens within your imagination. The moment you can mentally move into the position of the one who has already received and feel from that position, you initiate a chain reaction. This inner movement registers in your deeper mind, and that deeper mind, which governs all outer circumstances, begins to shape your world in response. To assume the wish fulfilled, you must accept that consciousness is the only reality. The moment you identify with a new state of being in your imagination, the world must rearrange to mirror that identification. It is not your job to figure out how. You are not concerned with the means. You are only concerned with the end. If the end is accepted and sustained within your awareness, the bridge of incidents leading to its fulfillment will unfold with or without your understanding. The law does not need your analysis. It needs your acceptance. Imagination must be fused with feeling. A cold visualization is not enough. You must feel the reality of your desire. It must become so natural to you that you no longer question its presence, even if the world has not yet reflected it. The feeling of having is what imprints the state upon the subconscious. Once that impression is made, everything necessary for the external realization of that state is compelled to manifest, not by struggle, not by force, but by divine order. Life responds to inner convictions, not outer demands. The challenge lies in persistence. One must persist in the assumption despite contrary evidence. The senses may scream otherwise. The facts may deny your inner claim, but you are not to be swayed by the facts, for the facts are the shadows of previous beliefs. You are dealing not with effects, but with cause. The cause is the assumption held with feeling. Persist in the inner knowing, and the facts must change. They have no choice. Reality is plastic to the mold of your inner state. This persistence is not effort, it is loyalty to your vision. When doubt arises, do not argue with it. Simply return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Feel it again, dwell in it, let it soothe and saturate your awareness. The more often you return to that inner state, the more dominant it becomes. And when a state becomes dominant, it expresses itself in your world. This is how you master your reality. Not by reacting to appearances, but by faithfully assuming your inner truth. Every time you imagine, you are choosing a future. Every time you feel the reality of your desire, you are building that future. Your inner conversations, your silent affirmations, your nightly visions, all of these are creative acts. You are never not creating. The question is, what are you assuming? What are you identifying with? What are you feeling to be true? These are the keys that determine your world. You can shift your experience by shifting your assumption from lack to abundance, from fear to peace, from separation to union. And once you make the shift, remain there. Live in the end. Walk as though it is already so. You will know you have assumed correctly when peace replaces striving. When the desire no longer feels like something you must attain, but something you have already received. That internal rest is the sign that the seed is planted. And though it may not yet be visible, it is already growing. Your work is done when the state feels natural. That is the only proof you need. The world will echo that inner certainty, but by the time it does, it will no longer surprise you. For in truth, you saw it, felt it, lived it long before it came. So, begin now. Choose a desire. Go within and assume it is already yours. Close your eyes, see it, Feel it, walk in it, sleep in it, speak from it. Return to it again and again until it becomes your dwelling place, and from that place all things shall be added unto you. The power of imagination is not merely the ability to picture something in your mind. It is the actual creative force of your reality. Everything you now see, everything you call real, was first imagined. Whether it appeared in your own mind or in the mind of another, all things were conceived in thought before they took form in substance. Imagination is not a passive daydream. It is the spiritual womb where futures are formed. To understand this is to move beyond the mechanical world of cause and effect and into the living, breathing world of creation by inner vision. You may believe that actions produce results, but actions are only the outer echoes of your inner movements. What you do is a byproduct of who you believe yourself to be, and that belief is born and nurtured in your imagination. When you imagine something with intensity, when you feel it as real, when you experience it inwardly, you have planted the seed. And just as the seed does not fight to grow, but grows by the law of its nature, your imagined experience must take shape in your outer world. There is no other way it can go. Imagination sets the mold. Reality is the clay. It is essential to understand that imagination is not limited to vision. It involves every sense, every emotional frequency, and every layer of awareness. When you close your eyes and imagine success, wealth, health, or love, it is not enough to see it. You must hear the sounds, feel the textures, sense the atmosphere, and most importantly, you must feel the joy, the gratitude, the peace that would accompany the fulfilled desire. This fullness of feeling brings the imagined state to life. And once it lives within you, it must materialize around you. All power is within. If you attempt to change the outer world without changing the inner conception, you will struggle endlessly. But the moment you change your inner script, the outer stage must follow. Life does not happen to you, it happens from you. You are the author, the director, and the lead actor, all operating through imagination. If your life feels small, it is not because of your circumstances, it is because your imagination has accepted smallness. Expand it. Dare to imagine something greater. Dwell in it, and the world will respond. Some fear imagination, thinking it to be dangerous or unrealistic. But what is more dangerous than allowing old beliefs and limited concepts to govern your experience? Imagination frees you from what has been and permits you to enter what could be. Every invention, every advancement, every act of courage began as an idea, formed and sustained in the imagination. This is not escapism. It is mastery. To use imagination consciously is to enter the divine nature of yourself, to create rather than react, to lead rather than follow. Do not wait for inspiration to come to you. Go within and generate the vision. Ask yourself, what would it feel like if my desire were already fulfilled? Then remain in that state. Let that state animate your thoughts and decisions. When your imagination is full of the desired outcome, it becomes the guiding intelligence of your life. The circumstances and opportunities you need will flow to you, not because you chased them, but because you became the version of yourself that naturally attracts them. Your imagination is sacred. It must be guarded from doubt, fear, and contradiction. Every time you accept a limitation, you freeze the power of imagination. But every time you return to the vision of your ideal life, you reignite that power. You must become faithful to your unseen world. For though others may not see what you see, and though circumstances may appear unmovable, your inner world has the final word. The imagination you honor today becomes the reality you live tomorrow. Train yourself to live more in the inner world than the outer. When you awake in the morning, do not react first to the news, the phone, or the pressure of tasks. Instead, return to your image. Feel again what it is like to have it. Let that inner vision become your atmosphere. Throughout the day, revisit it. When doubt appears, replace it. When anxiety arises, imagine peace. When lack appears, imagine abundance. You are not denying the outer world, you are replacing it at the level of cause. Remember this: the most consistent vision wins. If you allow fear to run freely in your imagination, you are creating just as powerfully as when you imagine your desires fulfilled. The mind does not distinguish between positive and negative. It only manifests what you persist in. That is why discipline in imagination is not optional. It is vital. Take full control of your inner life. Choose your visions wisely. Nourish them daily. Feel them often. And in time, they will express with divine precision. Nothing stands between you and your imagined end except the decision to accept it as real. When you know how powerful imagination is, you will never again treat it casually. You will treasure it, tend to it, and use it with reverence. For in your imagination lies the key to everything you seek. You are not waiting for life to give you what you want. Life is waiting for you to imagine it clearly, feeling deeply, and persist in it faithfully. When that becomes your habit, nothing will be impossible to you. Visualization, when rightly understood, is not an idle pastime. It is the divine art of mentally constructing a new world and stepping into it with full acceptance. Most people confuse visualization with fantasy. They see a fleeting picture and then abandon it when the outer world fails to respond instantly. But real visualization, when practiced with understanding, is the act of forming an image so vivid, so emotionally alive, that it begins to feel more real than what your eyes can presently see. And in that moment, the inner world becomes the source of creation, while the outer world becomes its inevitable echo. To visualize properly is to internalize the result, not the process. You are not here to figure out how things will come to pass. That is not your concern. The bridge of incidents is not your job to construct. What is required of you is to occupy the state of the wish fulfilled and see the outcome as already complete. When you visualize, you must not concern yourself with how your goal will materialize. You must instead build the end scene, the final picture that proves your desire has already been fulfilled, and place yourself inside it. See yourself with the results. Hear the sounds you would hear if it were true. Touch the objects, breathe the air, walk in the spaces, and speak the words you would naturally say if your desire had already become reality. Let your senses be involved. The more detailed the scene, the more powerfully it imprints upon your inner consciousness. But above all, allow the scene to feel natural. Do not place your desire on a pedestal. If it feels out of reach, you are still a spectator. But when it feels familiar, ordinary even, you have entered the state. And it is from within the state that manifestation occurs. The subconscious accepts only what feels real, and it is through visualization that you inject feeling into form. The inner image is the mold, and the feeling is the energy that activates it. The moment your inner scene is infused with emotional acceptance, you have impressed the subconscious mind. That impression will then externalize itself in ways that appear effortless, logical, and coincidental. But these are only labels we give to what was spiritually ordered. It is important to repeat your visualizations, not mechanically, but devotionally. Repetition is not to convince the universe. Repetition is to convince yourself. Each time you return to your mental picture, you deepen your identification with the state. You loosen your grip on the outer facts and fasten your attention upon the inner truth. Over time, your inner picture becomes more dominant than your physical environment. And as the inner becomes dominant, the outer must conform. Understand that you are not begging or hoping during visualization. You are assuming. You are accepting the truth of your inner vision. You are dwelling in the fulfilled state. That dwelling is creative. That dwelling is causative. All movement in the outer world must eventually align with the pattern you hold in your inner world. So if your present reality is undesirable, do not fight it. Simply replace it inwardly. Create a new scene. Live within that scene in your mind. Feel the joy of it, the peace of it, the freedom of it. Let your mind return to it until it becomes your emotional home. Visualization must be practiced in the silence, not in the chaos of the outer world, but in the sacred space of imagination. Sit quietly. Close your eyes. Let go of the day's worries. Then enter the scene as though it is unfolding right now. Make it real to you. If you do this before sleep, Your last mental act of the day will shape the tone of your subconscious activity throughout the night. The subconscious, being impersonal, will take the scene you gave it and begin to work toward externalizing it in your waking life. When you visualize, do not force the picture. Let it unfold naturally. Let it come to you like a memory from the future. The more relaxed you are, the more potent the image becomes. If you try too hard, you push it away. Trust that what you imagine with feeling is a spiritual reality, even if invisible to the senses. In due season, that spiritual seed will bear fruit. Most of all, visualize not to get something, but to become something. The aim is not to acquire things, but to transform consciousness. Things follow change of consciousness, not the other way around. So ask yourself, who must I be for this desire to be natural to me? Then imagine being that person. Let your visualization answer that question. See yourself already being the one who has the results. Let that vision define your behavior, your thoughts, your emotions, your posture. When you do this faithfully, day after day, your identity shifts and your world will follow. You are the artist, the sculptor, and the clay. Visualization is the chisel with which you shape your reality. The clearer your vision and the deeper your feeling, the faster your world reflects it. If you can see it, if you can feel it, and if you return to it with faith, then you must experience it. This is not a promise made by others. It is a law written into the structure of your being. It is not imagination against reality. It is imagination as reality. And when you know this, you are free. Belief is not a passive thought. It is not mere agreement with an idea. Belief is the substance of the unseen, the invisible root that births visible fruits. Every experience you have had, every circumstance you call real, is a direct reflection of what you have dared to believe. Not what you have desired in fleeting moments, not what you have spoken casually, but what you have inwardly accepted as true. Even if you did so unconsciously, belief creates reality. It is the law by which your world is governed, and nothing appears in your outer life that was not first sanctioned by belief. When you believe a thing to be true, you live from it. You act as though it is done. Your emotional reactions align with that belief. Your inner conversations reflect it. Your expectations harmonize with it. Whether you are aware of it or not, your world is mirroring that alignment back to you in form. This is not a matter of superstition or mental games. It is the divine structure of creation. You do not see to believe, you believe to see. There is no outer cause, there is only inner acceptance. Belief is the first cause of all things, and belief is nothing more than a persistent assumption held with feeling. You can say you believe in abundance, but if you worry about money, speak of lack, and emotionally prepare for failure, then what you truly believe is the opposite. The subconscious does not respond to words. It responds to the feeling of belief behind those words. The state you dwell in emotionally is the state you believe in, and the state you believe in is the one you express. Change your belief, and your entire world will reorganize itself around that change. This is not done by force, but by inner re-identification. You must let go of the old self, the one who lacked, the one who feared, the one who hoped but did not expect. In its place, you must put on the new self, the one who already has, already is, already knows. You do not try to become this self, you assume it. And in that assumption, belief is born. Some say, I want to believe, but I don't know how. Belief does not come from effort. It comes from exposure to new inner truths. Begin by imagining what it would feel like if your desire were already fulfilled. Let that feeling settle in you. Let it speak louder than your doubts. When it feels natural, belief has taken root. It need not be perfect. It only needs to be dominant. A new belief, even if small, when nourished and returned to, can replace the deepest patterns of fear and limitation. The mind will resist. It will argue for what has been. It will replay the evidence of the past. But your job is not to convince the mind. Your job is to persist in the new inner state. When you hold a belief with confidence, even in the face of contradiction, you are exercising your creative power. You are establishing a new cause. And just as the old beliefs once manifested, so will the new. You must stop looking for signs and begin living from the conviction. A man who believes he is wealthy does not search for proof. He behaves from that knowing. A woman who believes she is loved does not seek confirmation. She expresses love freely. Their world conforms because their belief leads. You do not need to force outcomes when your belief is intact. The outcomes flow naturally, drawn to the vibration you consistently hold within. All of life is responding to you, and you are responding to your belief, your health, your relationships, your career, your opportunities. They are all dancing to the silent music of your inner certainty. If you wish to change the dance, change the song. Change what you believe about yourself. If you believe you are overlooked, you will be. If you believe you are chosen, the world will move to confirm it. There is no power working against you, only the mirror of your own convictions. Begin now by examining what you truly believe, not what you wish, not what you've been taught, but what you consistently feel to be true about yourself and your world. Ask yourself, does this belief serve me? Does it align with the future I desire? If not, release it. It has no power except the one you gave it. Replace it not with struggle, but with imagination. Step into the version of you who already believes differently. Feel from that place. Think from that place. Return to that place each day. Eventually it will become your natural dwelling, and from that dwelling, a new world will emerge. Your beliefs are the blueprint. Reality is the construction. You do not build by force, you build by faith. Faith is nothing but sustained belief. When belief becomes so natural that it no longer wavers, manifestation is inevitable. Do not wait for life to show you something new. Show life what you now believe, and it will respond in kind. This is not a philosophy, it is law. It is the quiet law that governs all creation, and the one who understands it can never again be the victim of chance. For they know with full assurance that belief is destiny written from within. Manifestation does not come through struggle or strain. It is not a question of how hard you try, how much you wish, or how long you wait. It is simply a matter of alignment. Alignment between who you are inwardly and the result you desire to see outwardly. Most people live in contradiction. They say they want something, but in their feelings, in their self-observed, in their conversations with themselves, they remain in the state of lack. The result is delay, confusion, and disappointment. But the moment you become the version of yourself who already has what you desire, the manifestation must follow. This is not a matter of superstition. It is law. To manifest your dreams, you must first understand that you are not trying to create something from nothing. Everything already exists in the invisible realm of possibility. You are selecting by your inner attitude which version of reality you wish to experience. This selection process happens through imagination, through assumption, and most importantly, through feeling. If you want to shift your life, you do not beg life to change. You change your state. And the most effective way to shift your state is to live even inwardly from the version of you that already has the thing desired. Ask yourself, if it were already done, how would I feel? How would I carry myself? What would I no longer worry about? What would I now expect? These are not empty questions. These are access points to the state of being that magnetizes your desire. When you answer them honestly and dwell in those answers emotionally and imaginatively, you are entering the vibrational frequency of your fulfilled desire. From that state, you will naturally think different thoughts, take different actions, and respond differently to life. But none of it will feel forced. It will flow, because the new self-expression is coming from a different state of being. You must stop focusing on the distance between you and your dream, and begin acting from the identity of one who has already crossed that distance. The outer world may still look the same, but if the inner shift is made, the outer must follow. For the world is only reflecting you back to yourself. You cannot outwork a misaligned identity. You cannot hustle your way into a state that you have not first accepted as your own within. The only real change is internal change. This is where most people miss the mark. They want the result to make them feel successful, worthy, loved, abundant. But the law works in reverse. You must feel it first, within, before the outer can take shape. That is why alignment is so powerful. You are not trying to create. You are letting the already created version of you express itself through your body, through your voice, through your actions, through your attitude. And because that version already exists in the imagination, all you must do is step into it again and again until it becomes natural. When something becomes natural to you, it manifests effortlessly. There is no resistance. There is no striving. There is only the outpicturing of what has already been accepted as true. If it still feels foreign, that is not failure. That is a sign that the assumption must be returned to and felt again. Repetition is not about forcing results. It is about building familiarity. When the state becomes familiar, it becomes dominant. And what is dominant in your inner world becomes visible in your outer world. To manifest, you must let go of the habit of observation and adopt the practice of creation. Most people observe their reality and then form beliefs from what they see. But that is reactive living. That is living as an effect, not as a cause. The creative individual forms the belief first based on what they choose to imagine and then observes life conforming to that belief. This is not delusion. This is divine responsibility. You are not here to report on the world. You are here to direct it. But that direction comes from within. Every dream you have ever cherished is waiting for you to assume it, not to chase it, not to earn it, but to become the one who already has it. This shift happens in the invisible world of the heart, the imagination, the inner dialogue. There, in the silence of your own soul, you make the transition from wishing to being, from hoping to knowing, from waiting to receiving. And once that transition is made, the outer world simply plays catch up. This is the great paradox. The less you try to get something, and the more you feel that you already have it, the faster it comes. Because in truth, you're not attracting something external. You are awakening a state that already exists within you. The dream is not outside of you. It is in you. It has always been in you. The only question is whether you will give yourself permission to live from it now. So, if you wish to manifest your dreams, stop asking how long it will take. Stop checking for signs. Stop measuring your progress. Go within. Assume the end. Live from the end. Speak from the end. Feel from the end. And the end will come. Not because you made it happen, but because you finally aligned yourself with the reality that was waiting for you all along. Conscious manifestation is the deliberate act of choosing your reality through focused awareness and inner conviction. It is not about forcing life to submit to your desires, but about understanding that life already yields to what you are conscious of being. The world you experience is a mirror, reflecting not what you wish for, but what you accept as true. 1 minute people live as though they are powerless, responding to events, reacting to circumstances, and waiting for change to arrive from outside themselves. But nothing outside ever truly changes until the inner state does first. To manifest consciously is to take full ownership of your inner world. It means no longer entertaining thoughts of limitation, no longer accepting the role of victim, no longer speaking words that contradict your desires. You become aware that every word you speak, every image you hold, and every feeling you dwell in is a creative act. And these acts, repeated and sustained, form the reality you eventually call your life. Manifestation is not some mystical trick reserved for a few. It is the natural process by which thought becomes formed. Whether you do it consciously or unconsciously determines the quality of your results. Most people manifest unconsciously. They allow random thoughts, fear, worry, and doubt to shape their future without questioning their validity. They replay the past and project it forward, then wonder why nothing new happens. But the one who practices conscious manifestation becomes a master of attention. They watch their thoughts, not with fear, but with responsibility. They do not allow their mind to drift into states they do not wish to experience. They guard their inner conversations, knowing that these dialogues are seeds, and that every seed bears fruit according to its kind. You must remember, What you are conscious of being is what you will express. If you are conscious of being overlooked, you will find yourself passed over. If you are conscious of being chosen, opportunities will come to you without struggle. Your consciousness is the cause of everything. You may call something luck, coincidence, or fate, but in truth it is simply the echo of a state you have occupied, knowingly or unknowingly. When you understand this, you stop looking outward and start looking inward. You stop trying to change others and start changing yourself. To manifest consciously is to live intentionally. You do not wait for life to show you what to feel. You decide what to feel, and life responds. You do not hope for success. You assume the feeling of success, and that assumption shapes your path. You do not plead for love. You embody love, and that embodiment draws its reflection into your world. This is not a matter of fantasy or blind belief. It is the fundamental law of creation. Everything begins within, and the inner always determines the outer. The power of conscious manifestation lies in repetition and emotional alignment. You cannot visit the state once and expect a harvest. You must return to it, dwell in it, make it your home. The state you occupy consistently becomes your identity, and your identity is what your world reflects. If you desire abundance, you must not simply imagine wealth. You must think, speak, and feel as one who already lives in that state. If you desire healing, you must align with the consciousness of wholeness. If you desire peace, you must refuse to entertain thoughts of conflict. This alignment is not a one-time event. It is a discipline. It requires vigilance, not tension. You must be willing to prioritize your inner world over appearances. Appearances will often contradict your desire. They will tempt you to return to old patterns, to believe in lack, to fear delays. But you must remember that appearances are just the residue of past beliefs. They are not permanent. They are not powerful. They are projections. And as such, they can and must change when your inner state changes. Do not be deceived by what you see. What you see is the effect. Conscious manifestation deals only with cause. When you remain faithful to your desired state, when you nurture it with belief and feeling, the outer must realign. This is not speculation. It is law. The world is fluid, shaped by the mold of your consciousness. The only reason it appears rigid is because you have been rigid in your assumptions. Loosen the grip of the old story, and the new story will begin to unfold. To live by conscious manifestation is to walk by faith, not by sight. It is to place more weight on your inner vision than on your outer reality. It is to live as though your desire is already fulfilled, even if every fact denies it. That is the essence of creative power. Not waiting, but assuming. Not begging, but declaring. The one who lives this way begins to see the miraculous as ordinary, the impossible as normal, and the world as an obedient servant to the command of consciousness. This discipline is available to all. It requires no special training, only a willingness to observe your thoughts, master your feelings, and remain loyal to the unseen. The unseen is not unreal. It is simply the realm from which all reality flows. You do not manifest what you want. You manifest what you are conscious of being. And when you fully grasp this, you will no longer leave your life to chance. You will choose your states deliberately, nurture them with care, and watch with wonder as the world bends to your inner word. A spiritual success mindset is not built upon effort or ambition as the world understands them. It is built upon the understanding that all you seek is already within you. You are not here to earn your worth, prove your value, or chase success as though it were a distant prize. True success is not the result of external striving, but of internal awakening. The most profound transformations happen not when you work harder, but when you remember who you truly are, when you see yourself not as a product of conditions, but as the origin of them. To hold a spiritual success mindset is to recognize that the kingdom you seek is not outside in the world of men, it is within. You carry the seed of greatness within your consciousness, and your world will expand in exact proportion to your willingness to accept this inner reality. Most live their lives believing that opportunities, wealth, peace, and recognition are rewards bestowed by others. They wait for permission to succeed, for evidence to believe, for approval to feel worthy. But the one who understands the inner law knows that success is not granted, it is assumed. You assume success by becoming conscious of it within. That assumption, when accepted emotionally and repeated faithfully, begins to color your world. You do not need to hustle for your place. You do not need to convince anyone of your potential. You do not need to fight for attention. When you align with the state of being successful, the world begins to treat you accordingly. People respond to your confidence, not because they understand your vision, but because they feel your certainty. You lead not because you impose your will, but because you radiate conviction. This success is spiritual because it is rooted in truth, and the truth is that you already are what you seek to become. The process is not one of achievement, but of revelation. You are revealing your true self every time you let go of doubt, every time you quiet the voices of limitation, every time you say yes to the version of yourself who already knows it is done. There is no power in the outer world greater than the power of one who is fully aligned inwardly. That alignment is magnetic. It draws to itself the right people, the right ideas, and the right opportunities at the right time, not through force, but through resonance. The world is moved by those who move themselves first in consciousness. If you would change your life, do not start by changing your environment. Start by changing your inner agreement. Say to yourself, this is who I am now. This is what I choose to believe. This is the identity I dwell in. And then remain there, even when the outer world offers no evidence. Your consistency in the unseen is what produces results in the seen. The spiritually successful individual understands that the goal is not to get, but to give from fullness. You do not chase love, you embody love. You do not seek validation, you carry the knowing that you are already whole. And from that wholeness, you move through life with calm confidence, not needing to be seen, but knowing that your inner vision sees all. You are no longer moved by appearances because you have trained your senses to respond to truth, not illusion. Do not measure success by comparison. That is the trap of the ego. Spiritual success does not compete, it creates. It does not compare, it radiates. You are not here to outshine another. You are here to embody the fullness of your own design. And when you do, you give permission for others to do the same. Your success becomes a light that guides, not a spotlight that blinds. You become a presence in the world, not through dominance, but through alignment. Hold fast to the idea that you are already chosen. You are not left behind. You are not forgotten. Every desire you have ever nurtured is a divine whisper reminding you of who you are. The only thing that stands between you and the full expression of that desire is your willingness to claim it now, not tomorrow, not after more preparation, now. The present moment is the only place manifestation happens. When you say, I am successful, and feel the weight of that statement in your body, you have already begun the journey. Every step from there is simply the unfolding of that truth. A spiritual success mindset is quiet yet powerful. It does not scream for attention. It does not seek validation from the world. It stands unwavering in the knowing that what is within must come forth. It is not concerned with time, for it knows that time is a servant, not a master. It does not panic when results seem delayed, for it trusts the invisible order that governs all things. Your task is to return again and again to the state of success within, to dwell in the feeling that all is well, to breathe as one who is already there, to think, speak, and move as one who has nothing to prove and nothing to earn. In that state, everything flows. And that flow carries you, not because you chase it, but because you are aligned with it. That is the power of a spiritual success mindset. It is not built, it is remembered. It is not achieved, it is accepted. And once accepted, it changes everything. The outer world is not the origin of your experience, it is the reflection of your inner state. All that appears in your environment, the people, the events, the conditions, is but a shadow cast by your inner assumptions, your dominant thoughts, your emotional tone. There is nothing outside of you that has power in and of itself. Everything you see is a mirror responding to who you are being internally. This is not metaphor, it is law. The inner world creates the outer world. When you understand this truth, you no longer react to appearances. You begin to revise them from within. You are always manifesting. There is never a moment when you are not impressing your inner world upon the canvas of your outer experience. The question is not whether you are creating, but whether you are doing it consciously. Every belief, every emotional reaction, every persistent self-concept is a thread in the fabric of your reality. If you see lack, it is because lack is what you have accepted inwardly. If you see delay, it is because you have entertained the idea that you must wait. If you see rejection, you have believed in separation. These conditions are not punishments. They are confirmations of the internal states you've assumed to be true. To change your world, you must change your self-image. You must accept that you are the source, not the subject. You must stop trying to change circumstances and begin changing the consciousness from which those circumstances emerge. You do not fight the shadow. You do not argue with a mirror. You change the image you project, and the reflection must follow. If you want the world to treat you as valuable, you must first assume your own value. If you want the world to give you abundance, you must first feel yourself to be abundant. This shift requires attention, discipline, and awareness. You cannot let your imagination run wild and expect your world to remain in order. You must train yourself to observe your thoughts, your inner conversations, your emotional reactions, and redirect them when they contradict your desired state. Not with force, but with faith. You must learn to become loyal to the unseen reality of your fulfilled desire, even when nothing in the outer world supports it. Yet, that loyalty is what imprints your subconscious. That imprint is what manifests. The most effective way to shift your outer reality is to revise the inner narrative. What do you say to yourself when no one is listening? What do you believe about your worth, your abilities, your future? These silent beliefs are the architects of your world. If you walk through life telling yourself that things are difficult, people are untrustworthy, money is scarce, or love is unavailable, then your world must match those assumptions. Not because life is cruel, but because life is obedient. It reflects what you are conscious of being. Begin today by assuming the consciousness of already having. Speak to yourself as though you are already the person who has succeeded. Feel the joy, the relief, the confidence of being exactly where you want to be. Let that state become natural to you. Return to it often. Make it the most familiar experience in your inner world. The moment it becomes natural, it will begin to manifest externally. Not by chance, not by luck, but by law. The law that says the inner and the outer are not separate, they are one. This is why the practice of living in the end is so powerful. When you dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled, you are no longer looking for proof in the outer world. You are providing the proof in your inner world. You are telling life what to show you, not asking it for permission. This confidence, this inner certainty shifts everything. People treat you differently. Circumstances open up. Solutions arrive. But none of these things cause your success. They are the effects of your state. Even the difficult experiences you have faced were born from inner states. This is not a reason for guilt or shame. It is the key to freedom. Because if you created the old reality by unconscious belief, you can create a new one by conscious assumption. You are not stuck. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are simply being invited to change your state. And when the state changes, the entire script of your life begins to rewrite itself. You must learn to speak only of what you desire, to entertain only those ideas that affirm your new identity, to act as though what you want is already here. This is not pretense, it is preparation. You are preparing your world to receive what your inner world has already claimed. And the more you do this, the more you see the evidence reflect back to you, slowly at first, then all at once. Because the outer world must conform, it has no will of its own. You cannot resist the power of a sustained inner vision. So never again say, I am waiting for it to happen. Instead say, I am becoming the one who has already received. And from that place of embodiment, all things are added, not because you chase them, but because you remembered that your inner world creates your outer world. And what you accept within must express itself without. That is the secret of conscious life and the foundation of all transformation. Everything you have heard was never meant to inspire mere curiosity. It was meant to awaken responsibility. You are not at the mercy of circumstances. You are not the result of luck or fate or outer favor. You are the operant power. The creative force of your world lies within your consciousness, from assuming the wish fulfilled to living from the end, from mastering the power of imagination to aligning with the spiritual mindset of success. Every truth shared here leads back to one central revelation. Your reality is shaped entirely by what you persist in being inwardly. You are only one step away from winning, not because the external world is about to change, but because the inner shift you dare to make now determines what will follow. That one step is not physical. It is not an action or a performance. It is the assumption of your already fulfilled desire. And the moment you take that step inwardly, fully and faithfully, the rest of your world must rise to meet it. You need not force anything, chase anything, or strive endlessly. You need only accept that your inner world is the first cause and all else is its reflection. This is the divine pattern, the sacred design. You do not become by waiting. You become by assuming. You do not attract by wanting. You attract by being. And every dream you ever longed for is already finished in the unseen, in the realm of imagination. So dare to recognize it. Dare to live from it. Dare to live from it. Dare to believe that what you see in your mind and feel in your heart is more real than what the world temporarily reflects. Because it is. You are not distant from the life you desire. You are the life you desire, clothed in thought. Begin now. Assume the best. Feel it deeply. Return to it often. And watch how the outer world quietly, inevitably, gloriously follows your lead.